Hey everyone, welcome to this live stream, and today we are going to be adding another feature into our expenses app. And a few days ago we added a feature of adding toast notification to our expenses app, and today we'll be adding a authentication wall. So it will be a basic it's going to be a very basic like a pop-up or a model based authentication where we'll ask for a secret key. So this secret key would be unique, and they would be anyone who has access to the secret key would be able to just enter the secret key and access the uh, expenses app. Okay. So this demo is open. If you currently the demo is at expenses hyphen dem, or you can just go through this link. So the demo is available currently at expenses-demo.netlify.app, right? And it's available there. So what we'll do is, let me just quickly change. So since this is a public demo, someone might have changed the currency to EGP, Egyptian pound. Let's change it back to Indian rupees. Okay. Yeah, that is fine. Some expenses going on here. So basically I'll be covering this issue. Add screen to ask for a code before giving access. So before they are given the access to the expenses dashboard, they'll have to provide a secret key or a code to enter, or to be authenticated to be enter the expenses app and to be able to view the expenses and earnings. Right, so that's what's basically we are going to be adding. There is no authentication as in like there is no user login or user sign up or anything. Since this app is supposed to be like self-hosted, so anyone who wants to save their expenses, like manage their expenses and all, they'll be basically able to do is like host it on their own servers. They could use any type of process management. They could use Docker, Kubernetes, or PM2, even PM2 to run this, right? Only the client, so the client this client can be run on Netlify or Vercel or Heroku or anywhere basically, but there is this Hasura console attached to it that has to be run, that can also be run on Heroku or DigitalOcean, or even in AWS. Right, so let's just start with our task for the day, that is adding a model to ask for a code to give them the access, right? So to add it, what we want is I don't just want to add a model that can be that can be removed by just going to DevTools and doing display none and everything. So what we'll be doing is either the model will render and to ask the code, or the whole app will render. So let's say if the code is already there, if they entered a code and it's a valid code in it, so they'll be able to access the application. Otherwise it'll stay there. There is no like going to DevTool and displaying it none or something that'll show the app or anything. So it's one thing or another thing, right, that will be rendering. So what we so there'll be a if else sort of situation here. If we'll do that if else situation here, right, and then they'll be able to access it. Another thing is yeah, that was the first thing. Yeah. So yeah, one more thing that we could do is instead of having them instead of asking for the code every time they visit their website or their expenses app, what we would do is simply ask them to, if they want to store the code in local storage, right? So anytime they access it via the same browser, they'll be able to access it without having to add the code again and again every time they visit. So basically what we want is like ask for a code. Let's say, so we'll have to think of it like what we want to do. For now, what I'll do is just a second, can this be converted into extends app? Okay, I haven't worked with the class-based components in a long time. I hope constructor super, maybe. Do I have to say super here? No, it's I actually don't need to say super. I can just say this dot code equals to null, right? Another thing we'll need is this dot is modal visible, right? Or which we can set to false, right? Or we can even use set state. So I haven't worked with class-based component in a long time that I forgot the syntax on how to set a state with class-based component. Let's see. So this is a React's documentation, and we can go over to state and lifecycle, and let's see. Do they have any? So this is a class-based component adding a local state. So you basically do this. Let's just copy paste this. Right here. So you want the in our state, I want two things. One for code, that will be initially null. So let's not do it null, let's do it empty string, and then we'll have is model visible, and we'll set it to false, right? Ideally it should be true, since we want to show it every time the user visits, and then later on we'll add the local storage. So then the value of his model visible will be coming from the local storage. So let's do this, and in here I'll do like if, let's see, if this state dot this dot state dot is model visible is true, then I want to render. Is this how you do it? Huh. Does this not work or anything? Let's see. So we've had a render, adding a lifecycle component, so that checking in the local storage and everything we'll be doing in componented mount. But before we come to that, can I not do like if else on render? Let's see. I mean, we can of course do the if else inside of this. I'm trying to see if we can do it outside of the render. There's a return here. Okay. This is probably what should have been doing. So we do like this dot model dot is visible here, and then just return a, I'll say, for now I'll put some random text model and see if that shows up. So yeah, our model is showing. I mean, it's not necessarily a model, it's a full screen, so it'll more likely be a screen rather than a model or anything, right? So now also it doesn't matter which path you will be at, since it at a root level it will always show and then ask you for a, let's see. So what I want is div is fine. In here I want another, let's say, section right? And in that section I want to say, let's say h2 secret key. We can have some heading saying like enter the secret code or something. We can come back and later and replace it with something better, but for now. So another thing we'll have is an input will be of type password, obviously, and in that password I'm just going to say placeholder. We'll do the same thing later. I mean, we can do it right now because we have already declared the code here. So here I want the placeholder to say enter the, again same thing, enter the secret code. Let's just call it authentication or something. So let's just keep on adding. So for value we can say this dot state dot value, and then we'll need a on change. For on change we can pass a handle change, like I mean we can do both, like straight up do set state, like this dot set state, and in that inside that set state I'll do code would be e dot target dot visible target dot value. Right now, one thing I'm not sure of is like okay, yeah, we'll see. So we have this. Let's check our state. Our state has here, and we have code and true. Let's see if I add something, right? So our code is here, right? Let's try to center everything. So for that we can do tw equals tw. I'm using Tailwind, so along with twin macro. So the twin macro gives me access to tw method. Let's just import it like this. Come down here, and we can then use the classes, the utility classes that Tailwind provides us with. So I want the container to be flex. I want everything to be center vertically, and then I want everything to be centered horizontally. Let's see if that works. Justify content was not found. Oh yeah, it's what's justify center. Right, let's see. So it is centered now. Now it didn't center it vertically. It could be because the container is of this much height. So we'll have to say at screen for it to span the whole screen. Then it'll be centered like this. I'll add some with background color here, like maybe BG. Yeah, and then I'll add some styling to our section here also, and in here I'll say let's add the border. Let's see what it looks like. That's fine. We want the padding all over, so let's do P3. That will be 12 pixel padding. Let's add some roundness, so I'll just say rounded like this, and let's add some styling to our header, and in here we can say text gray 800. Right, I want its font size to be text LG. We can probably do XL. Let's do XL. And let's add some spacing in the bottom, so we can do probably MB3, that it's 12 pixels of wadding at the pad margin at the bottom. Let's style our input TW, we want it to have a height of 10, some roundness. Rounded is for border radius, and now we would want a px of 3, that is horizontal padding of 12 pixels, like that. Let's also add a background color to this. Yep, like that. Now we would need some PG gray 200. I'll do 200 like this, and yeah, so this is how we can do it. Next thing we can do is let's see, this is fine. Let's add a button and we'll say submit. And in here we can probably do flex and flex call. Flex call is for setting the flex direction to column, like this. Let's style our button. I'll say px of 3, h of 10, bg, what should we call it, bg indigo 700 maybe, and let's not do that, let's do teal with 600. Add some roundness, add some, make the text color white, that is text white. We can do uppercase, let's make it uppercase, and add some letter spacing, which is referred to as tracking in Tailwind. So I'll say tracking wider, like this, and we want some margin to the top of, let's do 8 pixels, like this, right? So this looks fine. What I can do extra is, like, let's make the center instead of left align, like this. So I mean, we have the basic UI created here for our authentication wall. So now we can, let me open up talk, and here we'll see where is it, my app. We'll see the state here. So I enter something, it comes up here, and then we'll do on submit. So what I want, another thing is, like, it shouldn't be able to submit unless there is some value in this, right? So for that, what we can do is, there are two ways to do it. Either we render the whole button and conditionally based on whether the code is more than one character or not, or we just conditionally render the classes. I think we can do conditionally rendering the classes. For that, I'll just import CSS from Twin Macro, and instead of this we'll do backtick, and instead of this we'll do object and say CSS equals this, right? So I'm not sure if we, in here we can do like string interpolation. Let's see. So what I would want is the background color to be different. So let's say it's BG teal 600 now, only if the code's length is more than 1. Yeah. So this could be, this we can render conditionally, saying like this dot state dot code dot length is if greater than 0, then show this, otherwise Otherwise do bg teal 400, we can do probably 300, and also make the pointer events to be none, right? So I think for that it's pointer none probably. Yeah, tail doesn't work like that, so we'd have to do it differently, as in, let's check out twin macro. They must have like conditionally rendering multiple classes. Some example for that, has hover, this is fine, multiple, cool. They did it like this. We can probably do this, right? So so we can take this out like this, remove this, make it like that, right? And then next thing we can do, where it go, is make it an array, and then we can do this. So let's say put a comma and then do this. If it is greater than 0, then bg till, then we'll add bg till. Let's also make this. So here we are composing multiple Tailwind classes into one. TW, I think that's correct, right? So if we do it now, pointer none, probably a different class, Tailwind. Let's see the pointer events. Pointer events none. It goes by this. Is there a disabling thing? No, not disabling as in that. I mean, as in like it's not allowed. Let's see, not allowed. Cursor not allowed, yeah. So what we want is the cursor to be not allowed, like this. But would it be able to click? Let's see. Let's add a quim click, right? And try to console just to see if the button is actually disabled. Oh, wait. Yeah, it won't be disabled. I'll tell you why in a second. Let's do it like that. It's still being called because now we'd have to use a disabled property, and in here we'll say pass the same thing. If it is equal to 0, then it is disabled. See, now it's actually disabled and won't be called. So if as soon as I do on this, and then it'll be called. Alright, so we added basic that. Now what we want is like on submit. On submit we can do verify code or something, right? We can call verify code. Since we're not passing or anything on this, we can just do this in here. Then we'll have to do verify code, and in here I guess we'll have to say like verify code equals to verify code. I don't clearly remember, but I guess this is what we have to do. So I want a function similar to like tick. Do I have to declare it here? declaration. Let's see. Passing functions to components, not what I meant. Bind. Oh yeah, we need to bind it. This is what I was thinking. So I have to bind this, and then have to do this. I'll have to say this dot verify code, because now that we have binded it to the this of class component, so it will be available like that, right? And now what we can do is execute the logic. So pick the code. If this dot state dot code is equal to 1, let's say, for now I'll say 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? If it is this, then we'll just basically set this dot is model visible to false, right? This is what we want. Let's see. So I've set it to 1 2 3 4 5 6. We'll have to do verify code is not defined, but it's defined right here. We can bind it here also. Arrow functions, right? Oh, if I do arrow function, I don't think I need to bind or anything. Let's just do that. It's not a big deal. So we'll do like this and just call it here. Should be fine now. Let's see. Okay, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 and submit, and we are inside the application now, right? If I refresh, it should ask me again. I'll have to put 1 2 3 4 5 6 again and save. It'll do that again. Okay, so that's that. So we have at least added the screen that will ask for code to be entered before being able to access the application. So this should ideally work on our screen, all path. Oh wait, did it? Oh, anyway, we'll see. Okay, like this. If I go to earning and refresh, it'll ask me again. I'll do this and do this. Let's see if it, so it's not going to ask if I'm routing within the application like this, but if I go to a URL, most likely it's going to ask me then earnings. Yep, right? So we can do it like this. Another thing I'd like to do is make it form, so we can use the handle submit thing, right? And but if I do that, I'd have to remove the state and everything from this. Let's see. So let's not worry about it right now. Move that, not a big issue. Like this, asks for a code. Now let's add the store in local storage feature, like, so we won't have to add it every time, and if it's added already, it'll just take it, detect it, and do the job. So we'll do that thing in component did mount, and we'll say, right, and in here what we'll do is basically check for, so I'll have to, one more thing I guess I have to search is local storage in NextJs, since NextJs is server side rendered, so we'd have to be careful while accessing the local storage. Let's see. Not that, access local storage before rendering page. Okay, so I think we'd be fine because component mount only executes when the page has rendered, right? So probably will be fine by just calling it inside the component mount. So what I want to call in here is, let's say I'll put it inside, I'll say code, and I'll call local storage dot get item, right? And in here I'll say I'll say code, access code, right? Put underscore access code, and then check if access code is equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6, then do the exact same thing, right? Another thing we'd want to do in here is like remove the code, make it back to the earlier state, right? And if the access code is this, give me access directly, right? I'll also set it here. So let's call it access code. If access code is equal to this, then do that. This for now I'll manually go into the storage and try to add the local storage item called access code manually, and then we'll see if it works, and then we'll add the UI and handle the front end logic for it. So we want to call it access code, and in there I want to say 1 2 3 4 5. I'll put 1 2 3 4 5 first. Let's try to do that. It failed, right? So I'll say 6. Let's try to do it now. It failed again. Let's see what's happening. In here I'll do console this. We'll see what we get. We got null in access code. Let's see, why would that be? Oh, because we this is cookies, not local storage. Probably should have done that in local storage. We'll say 1 2 3 4 5, and let's try it again. The code failed because it's not the correct code. I'll say 6. Let's see. Yeah, so if our code is in local storage, we'll be given access directly to it, right? Otherwise it'll ask us every time. So if I refresh again, I don't have to pass in my code over and over. See. So this is just a basic experience that we're giving to the whoever's using the expenses app, right? So they don't have to every time come here and add the code on every page, refresh, add the code. So this is kind of the feature that will help them in that area without having to pass the code and still have the access to the expenses app, right? So what we want to do now is also check should store. Let's see, we'll do a boolean probably. They'll say like we'll do a checkbox which will basically ask for like stored locally. That'll create this. So I can here say pass a boolean saying like store means store locally. What should we call it? I'll just say store locally, right? And it'll be false for by default it'll be false. And in here I'll add a checkbox, input checkbox. Checked would be this dot state dot store locally, right? On change would be what do we get? I think we get, okay, we'll see, e dot. I actually we don't really need this. We can just say this dot set state, and inside this we'll say store locally true. And instead of doing that, let's do this dot state dot store locally. So we'll just toggle between the values, whatever value is currently there, right? We'll just toggle between the values. So I'm going to just for now I'm going to delete this and come here. Oh, I forgot to add a label for store locally. I'll add a ID saying store locally and a name saying store locally, like this, right? Oh wait, oh yeah, store for next time. Log in automatically, maybe, yeah, we'll see. So if we call it like this, wait, why it's showing up here? Let's try to add a wrapper to it. I'll call it let's say dev. I mean, we can do field set. It's obviously a case where we can use field set like this. Why is it label? Do I have to put label up? Yeah. And in the field set, I'll add some basic, like I want the vertical margin to be around maybe 8 pixels, both up and down, like this. And let's MR of 2. Like this. Let's put the button above. It looks weird in between. Right, like that. With this, I would only need empty, right? And let's see if it changes our state first. Store locally true and false, right? So let's say it's true, right? That means as soon as they click on the button, in here I can check if this dot state dot store locally is true. That means I want to set it to local storage. So local storage dot set item, I'll say access code and set the value to be this dot state dot code. Now we wouldn't want to run this unless it's verified, so we can probably run it at this point, right? So saying like if the code is there, if the code matches the value that we want, then only check if they want it to be stored locally or not, and then if they do, then set the item. So let's try this and see if that works. It's a local storage. I want 1 2 3 4, so it's not going to work because it's incorrect. 5 6 will also have to handle the incorrect state, so they are able to also see like what this is incorrect password, incorrect code or anything, please try again or something, right? So we'll also add that in a minute. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, I want to log in automatically. Save this. Exit code is saved. Say refresh, it's already there. Even better. Nice. Okay, so this is cool. Now let's so I'll remove it again, so we can go back and add more features, like I'll say error, make it null. So error would be in the case if the code doesn't matches, right? So if the code doesn't matches, I want to set this dot set state and error to be incorrect code. Please try again. Please try again. So if there is an error in here, I can come at the bottom to this section here and say span this dot state dot error. Again, if it's there, then I want a span to be displayed, and that span will show me the whatever the error that we have, this dot state dot error. Let's see, 1 2 3, see, incorrect code, please try again. So instead of adding it here, I think we should add it right down here. Let's add some text. I want to be red of 500. Let's see. Yep, so this is fine, right? This is what we wanted. Incorrect code, please try again. Let's make it 600 maybe. Yeah, 600 is fine, right? So with this, we'd be able to add the authentication, take care of the error case in which case the code doesn't matches the required value, right? Now since that is done, we've taken care of all the things that we wanted. Like also, like if it's okay, another thing that we have to do is on change. Where is the on change? On change, I would want the error to be set to null again. So entered something, there was an error, remove the error, on change, check again, error, remove the error, check again, login. Yeah, so we are able to log in, which is cool. Now let's see if we are missing anything. We added the key and everything for us to able to validate against. Login automatically we have handled. Let's add the actual key. So I also have a env set. That env is the header secret that I passed to Hasura. Hasura requires this admin secret to be able to allow authorized the expense app to be able to access all the data via queries or to be able to do the mutations, right? So I'll be using this, and in here then I can come here, instead of doing it with 1 2 3 4 5 6, I'll do it with process.env dot where is it? Hasura key, right? So we'll say Hasura key like this. If it matches the Hasura key, that means let's give them the access. We don't need this anymore, so we can remove it. I can say 1 2 3 4 5 6. It obviously not going to match. So this key is a secret, so I'm going to pause the screen for a while I copy the key, and try to paste it in here. And now, oh, something went wrong. Just a second. Yeah. All right. I'll go here and copy do this. Yeah. So I have copied the secret key. I'll paste it here. I'll say login automatically, and I'll try to submit, since this was the key that I had in the env. So it let me log in automatically, right? Like this. Now another thing we would want is to give them an option to remove it also. So in settings I can probably do that. So we'll go to the settings. So this is the case where they want, like, I don't want to store the secret code anymore in this for some reason. So we have to give them a setting for that. So what we can do is look for the settings form, that is this, and in here, let's see, we have a div or something, settings section. I'll call another section, pass the same thing. I'll probably have a label. It's label currency. Is it a label? Yeah. Field setting h1, right? So let's just in here say what should we add? A button, just a basic button saying like before that I'll add a, let's just copy that label. I mean, it's fine. And in here say clear auto login. We can probably do, we can probably say like stop auto login or something. Yeah, so we'd want what we want is we can say delete. We can say delete, or let's not say delete, let's say remove saved access code. It's a bit too much, but anyway. And button say delete. Yeah, it's fine, we can say that. Open this. Okay, so that's okay. Probably don't want this. Let's see. This is a problem with this kind of font style, that you cannot have like a longer text. It'll just look a bit weird. So we'll have to call it something else. Save access code, clear stored. I'll just say access code, and then the button will say delete, remove, stored code, and we can say clear. Like this. Let's add some TW. This is a danger thing, so I'll do a BG red of probably 200, text red of 700, and let's see how does that look first. Looks fine like that, and I want it to have a px of 3h of 10 self start. So self start is for aligning it itself to the start, if that will work. Yeah, like this. So this is the equivalent of align self flex start. We'd want roundness, and we can, yeah, rest of file looks fine. It is a button. Now let's add a on click on this. What happens when you click on this on click? We can do clear storage, right? And come here, and in here say const clear storage, and all it's going to do is do local storage dot remove item, and we'll say access code, right? Is that how it's supposed to do? Or I guess it's not remove item. Let's go head over to Mozilla MDN and see how to remove a local storage item. Set item, get item, remove item. What did I do? Oh, it was a syntax error and not the code was fine. Probably didn't. Right, so on click of this, it's going to clear the stored code. I can probably just say clear code. I mean, since already says code, I can just say remove clear like this, and let's click on it. Should have probably cleared it, but let's see to confirm. Oh, cookies. Oh yeah, this is not the one. So if we'll go to local storage, the code is cleared. That means if we refresh, it'll ask us again. And I'm going to do the secret stuff again to copy the code. Let's copy, come back, in progress, paste the code, log in. Since this time I didn't do the store or login automatically, if I refresh, it's going to ask me again. And now I'll do login automatically and it shouldn't be asking me again anymore. All right, I think this was pretty much the whole thing that we wanted to do with the with this feature, adding a authentication wall or an access code wall to be able to give. Since this is a self-hosted, this is self-hosted application. Adding authentication and everything would be a bit overkill, since only one person at a time will be using it. There is no multi-tenancy here. It's a single tenant, right? Whoever has hosted this app is the only person using it, so we do not have to do the authentication stuff or anything. This simple code is enough, would be enough, right? So we have added it. We've added the basic functionality that we wanted, and I think we are done with it. We added a button to remove it so that it's not auto logging you again, or in case the code changes and you want to like change the code, so you can clear it. It'll ask you to log in again, and now you'll be able to add the new code, right? So I'll just do it for the scene. So if I refresh, it's going to be there. So this was it. This was the whole feature set that we wanted to build today into the expense app. So let's go ahead and go over what we did. So in app.js, first of all, I added some local state to see to store some of the things like code. Whatever the code the user has entered, we need to store it in a local state. Then an error in case the code is incorrect, we'll have to give a feedback to the user saying like this code is incorrect, please try again with correct code. And then we give them a setting to select whether they want to store it locally or not, right? And then we have a is model visible. I mean, this is not a model or anything. I can probably, instead of saying is model visible, I can say is authenticated, right? Oh, so if that's the case, then this should be false. Is authenticated is false by default, right? And that means if there is an access code, I'll be setting it to true. If there is an access code, I'll be setting it to true. Is authenticated, and in here I'll do the reverse, because it's not authenticated, then show this, otherwise render the whole application, right? Let's try it again. If we might clear the code, refresh the page, it'll ask you again, log in automatically, you're logged in, refresh, logged in again. So that is working fine, right? Right, in setting we just added the button and to clear the storage and all. So this is it. So our issue was number 5, and we'll say feat hash number 5 to reference the issue added. authentication wall. Like this, we can push it. That's taking some time. And since it's pushed, I got a notification in my Slack. I can now mark this feature set to be done. So I can move it to done and close the issue on GitHub. So I've been tracking a project. I've been tracking the project with some of the features that I wanted to implement in Expenses app. So I've got quite a while done. So we just added the paywall. I added toast notifications a few days ago, I think 2 days ago. I added the expenses this weekend, editing part. I earlier was using, I think, style components or something. Then I migrated to tailwind.macro, or basically Tailwind. I added some currency support, different currency support, that is this. They can have any currency of their choice. Right, we added a demo console, that is this demo, the demo expense-demo on Netlify. Added a date format changing, which is again this one, right? So we've got a lot of the issues that I'll be covering in future streams. I need to add some sorting in mobile view. So on desktop view I have a sorting like this, but on mobile I'm not rendering a table, instead I'm rendering cards. So I need to add the sorting there. So I'll probably be taking also solving this on stream, live stream as well. Right, let's see. We need to implement exporting to JSON and CSV support. This is a big feature. I haven't really thought about it. I just noted it down so I won't forget. Some other features and all. All right, this was the whole scope of the live stream, adding the authentication wall in our expenses app to prevent someone else to access your expenses or see your expenses, or prevent your expenses from being exposed. So we have done that and everything. So yeah, so this was it. I'll see you guys in next stream, and the stream will be ending now.